Hey, hold on, hold. Bag up, Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry. Put it in reverse. Oh, Lord, jeez. What you doing, Terry?
Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner football fans podcast. You got Terry, Rob, and Caleb here. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Caleb.
Boomer.
And we are coming at you from the still corona-free Podcast Palace in Norman, Oklahoma.
You say that like you think you're expecting.
No, I mean, Caleb's kind of a carouser. So.
We are not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma.
But we do have eligibility left. We got a great podcast coming up for you guys. We got from the SoonersWire, USA Today. Kegan Reneau going to be on the podcast here in about 10 minutes. We'll give him a call, and we're going to talk about the draft, anything Sooner football, the offense, the defense. If you're not following Kegan on Twitter, you need to. He's got a great Twitter account. He puts out plays, breaks them down, gets into some pretty good arguments. We're going to talk to him about how much he hates Jalen Hurts. There was a spat on Twitter today.
Between whom?
Him and somebody else. I don't remember who it was. So, but Rob, how is your Rona quarantine going? See you making everybody jealous, driving around the stadium, and why didn't you? Why weren't you man enough to bust through the gates with the?
Well, so it's locked, and that field has alarms on it. So the second you step out on that field, the cops are on the way. So, just FYI.
Well, but you're pretty.
I don't feel like getting pistol whipped, Terry. I mean,
Yeah.
Besides that, I mean, I can sprint maybe 5 yards, and then they're going to run me right down.
You're going to look like drunk Baker Mayfield.
It's going to be a massive tackle there on the 5 before I can get any further than that. But hey, red zone. What can you say?
There you go. That's all you got to do is get 5 yards. Caleb, how's your Rona? Are you ever going to get to move back in your house, or are you just going to move back in here?
I don't know. Well, hopefully the thing ends soon, but I don't know.
Rob, did you watch the Jordan documentary? Have you watched any of it yet?
I have not looked at it. You know how I am. I kind of like it to be over, and then I can just watch them all.
Caleb, I know you have.
That's good.
Is it?
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, it's just like the first episode's about Jordan, mostly college. Second episode's mostly about Pippen. And then it's going to get more and more into stuff.
So let me ask you this. Has your opinion changed at all on who's the number one player?
No. I mean, it's not going to change my opinion at all. I mean, because I've watched Jordan games. Like, I watched them. Like, I've watched like full things. I know, like, basketball's my favorite sport. So, I mean, I guess it's not going to change my opinion because I know who Jordan is. I got my number one player is from the 70s and 80s. So why would this Jordan thing change it?
Well, let's get to the end of it before you make your final decision because...
Well, do you want to know what I watched
What?
Sunday night? Rock and Roll Roadshow with Sammy Hagar.
Nice.
Yeah. So I missed the Jordan thing.
Did you catch up on Saul?
Oh, yeah. Saw the...
I still haven't seen the newest
season.
episode. So.
No, but Rock and Roll
one episode
Roadshow had Joe Elliott from Def Leppard on it, for all those who care. And it also had an interview with Shaquille O'Neal talking about business and being a businessman.
And he is.
Yeah, he's got like 5 or 6 restaurant chains. And
he's heavily invested.
Yeah.
Dude's making money.
Yeah, but... So, that's what I'll watch before I watch the Jordan deal. Also recorded Live from Daryl's House is back on, all on Axis TV. Axis, if you want to throw us some money.
I don't think anyone's going to throw anyone money right now.
Yeah. Live from Daryl's House is Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates, and he has people come to his house, and they cook and sit around and jam. It's one of the best shows on TV. This week, I haven't watched it yet. I usually, like you do, I kind of let those kind of build up, and I'll watch them. They had CeeLo Green on this one. But he has, Joe Walsh from the Eagles. He's had Steve Miller. I mean, it's just a great – if you're a music lover, it's a great show to watch.
I wonder if they still tell him that his mansion's nice.
Who?
Joe Walsh.
He's got a limo, too.
Yeah.
Well,
if he ever gets his license back, he can drive his Maserati.
He rides in the back. They lock the doors.
Yeah, in case he's attacked.
Yeah, unless it's a live version, he rides in the trunk. They lock the doors in case he gets drunk. That's how he does the live version.
All right,
but
yeah, I enjoy Joe Walsh.
Everybody across the Oklahoma City landscape that listens to us, everybody else out there across you've probably seen stuff on Twitter, but the radio stations are as well, especially one is dropping, having to drop people because there's no, obviously there's no business going around, so there's no income for these radio stations. So what is it?
Listen,
Caleb, 4 people, isn't that what we said? 5?
I think like 5 people, like I'm working, like they put me like from 5 to 6, 5 to 7. They only have 5 people working right now.
well, this keeps stretching out, and we're going to find out really who's essential because everybody else is going to get laid off. There's just no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. And honestly, that one little stimulus check that the government issued is not going to get everybody through this deal.
No.
So,
yeah, but it's changed the landscape of sports, and now it's changing the landscapes of local sports. And I'm sure Oklahoma City isn't the only market going through this, losing personalities that, we had Colby Daniels on last week, and Colby been on for years, and he was probably the first to.
They let him go before all this even happened.
Yeah, but I think it was because there was.
His contract was up too, I think.
Yeah, but I think they knew stuff was, fixing to shut down, and
no one knew that. No one knew it was going to happen.
Well,
they were still playing games a week before it shut down. Like, the stadium sold out.
Who else did? I'm sorry.
So I mean, it's just I don't know. It's crazy. And like I said, I think my job. I think if this lasts more than a month or so, I'll probably shut my job down because we can't get anything in. Like the product that I need to stay open, we can't get in because they aren't shipping it out because it's not like really essential product really. So I mean, I'll be.
How can icy not be essential?
Well, if you add alcohol to it,
exactly right.
I mean, some states are going to shut down alcohol too now because that one of the organizations said that alcohol is bad for you right now.
Yeah, depression. Well, I guess we need to go to we need to go to the bottle shop, Rob.
Well, it's not happening. I mean, it's not happening yet. I mean, I think some states are starting to they're starting to shut them down. Like, I don't think it'll happen here probably for a while.
We're gonna have another toilet paper run on Walmart.
Yeah, well, not toilet paper. It's gonna be a liquor run on liquor stores.
That's
man.
why only people right now it's like doing really good businesses of liquor stores. Really, like they're the only ones actually probably like making more money than anyone else right now.
Yeah.
I go to the liquor store. I talked to him. He's like, "Yeah, this is the business we've ever been. Like, we can't keep stuff in the stock."
Which way did you come to the Palace today, Rob?
I come the back way.
The back way,
yeah.
Because coming home, I drive past the dog park and drive past the nature center. Guess what?
Full.
Yeah, full. But yet, you and I can't go in your backyard and play golf.
Right.
It's a crime. City of Norman.
I'm telling you, man, people are just sitting all around that pond all hours of the day. I'm like, listen, people.
Lawns are 6 feet apart, apparently. So.
Well, I said me and Rob are never closer than 6 feet apart. We're usually a couple of 100 yards apart.
Even if I heard golf balls are close, we're not that close. You know what I mean?
So,
that's gonna be interesting. This next few, I think a lot of stuff's gonna be coming down sports wise too. A lot of people want to try to open up. Baseball's getting sued now. MLB's getting sued now by Ticketmaster places because they aren't getting refunds back. So it's craziness.
Yeah, it's crazy. I
know a lot of Sooner fans are worried that they've already paid their season tickets.
Ding, 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 me.
And you're not going to get a season. So what's up with that?
What they're saying is that they will credit it to the next season.
The next season, yeah.
So because there's no refunds. It says on your tickets there's no refunds. And somebody was telling me they were reading a ticket that somewhere that some tickets even cover acts of God, terrorism, list out everything.
Yeah, it's South by Southwest.
Yeah, that nothing is going to get your money back.
Yeah, so you can go to South by Southwest and get killed by bombs, and they won't refund everyone's tickets out back.
Yeah,
crazy.
But it does say on the ticket, at the University of Oklahoma. But our buddy Scott Higgins, he checked in on it. I've checked in on it, and they say that they will credit your tickets for the next season. Is what they're telling people. Right? Yeah, is that they're not gonna. Go, whoops, thanks for the donation.
Right.
But,
do you think this oil stuff's going to have an effect on the Thunder at all? Could we lose the Thunder because of oil?
No. I mean, everything's going to eventually rebound. I'm just wondering how come they're not paying us yet to buy gas. Because they said, in essence, that's what's going on is
get rid of it.
it's we have, and the stockpile, we have a huge stockpile of it. So and now it was negative, and I don't understand. Blinken and Wallace Marsh were discussing gas prices yesterday on Twitter. I didn't understand a bit of it, but Wallace is in the gas industry and Blinken is blinking.
And so both of them really smart guys.
Yeah. So they were talking about but in essence, what I saw is at -5, the futures are at -5. In essence, what that's saying is that I saw on the news today is that somehow in the futures, since it's future, the prices will rebound, but yet you should get paid instead of paying for gas.
Well, honestly, if you're an investor, like I've got an app called Robinhood. If you get on there, you can buy stocks now really, really cheap. Yeah. I mean, you're probably gonna lose some money at first, but when everything rebounds, you should you should be able to.
But anyway, let's get off of that. Let's get Kegan on here. Like I said, if you guys have listened to local radio, you've heard him on local radio, you follow him on Twitter. But it's Kegan Reneau from USA Today. Let's give him a call. All right, Sooner fans, on the phone with us. Not sure where. I guess he's here in Oklahoma City, but from Sooner SportsWire, USA Today. If you're local here in Oklahoma City, you've heard him on a bunch of the talk radio shows, and like we said earlier, if you follow him on Twitter, he's got a lot of great Twitter content, and his articles on SoonersWire.com are great. But we got Kegan Reneau on with us. Boomer, Kegan.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. It should be fun.
Yeah. So we've had thankfully a lot of the media folks have been generous with their time the last couple of weeks and been coming on our podcast with us, and we're asking them all the same questions. And I think we figured out why they're being generous with our time, because they don't have anything to do, because there's no sports. So for a person like yourself whose life revolves around, professional life revolves around sports, since March 17th, I guess it was, when the Thunder, March 17th. What are you doing from 9 to 5 or 9 to 10, whatever normal hours you would be putting in right now? How are you filling up your time professionally?
Yeah, just continuing to monitor the news. I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure that staying up to date with all the updates, the impacts of what the coronavirus is doing. And then, continue to move into breaking. Obviously, my biggest thing is analyzing the game. And if you follow me on Twitter, you see that. And that's been my biggest, thing over the last couple of weeks. I haven't posted a ton, but I've been watching a ton of film, continuing to do research, continuing to study Lincoln Riley's offense, continuing to study what Alex Grinch did a year ago. So doing those things, catching up, doing the things we need to do on a daily basis as a website, to maintain what we need to do as a business to keep my wallet a little full than what it would be if I didn't have it. So doing those things. But, at the end of the day, what's going on right now is so important. It's such a bigger thing than sports and life, and doing our part as a media member to report news and to report to the public and to our audience what they want to see right now. Now, gauging what you guys want to read has been very tough, because there's been some days where I post something about, prediction in terms of the depth date for Saturday, the depth chart. Everybody just blew up Saturdays because they're missing the spring game. But 2 weeks ago, I make a football post and no one wants to read about it. Everybody wants to read about some basketball player or recruit. So trying to figure out what you guys are wanting to read, what you guys are wanting to see. That's been a very interesting part of this, but more than anything, just maintaining what we do on a daily basis and maintaining, what we do in the journalism world. So
with, of course, like you said, the Saturday was the spring game. I know I drove around the stadium at least once, just because I bought me a Sooners driving hat, which I'd never know they were called a driving hat. Drove around Norman for a little bit. What was, knowing and building up until they canceled it, everybody was still hoping that the spring game, and then it was, the wind out of the sail. What was your Saturday like? I mean, did you wake up and go, like the rest of us, wake up and go, man, the spring game was supposed to be today?
I absolutely did, man. Looking forward, for us, the spring is basically our secondary season in terms of content. Obviously, you have basketball and what the baseball team is doing, and I covered the baseball team, and I continue to do. The spring football season for us is such a big cash cow, and not, those first couple days of spring football, we were having numbers just as good as what we were having in the fall. And on Saturday, I made those 5 posts of, roster updates, newcomer jerseys, projected depth charts, and, questions that I had that didn't get answered this season. And, those did really well too. So, just missing out, on Saturday, just, missing that football environment. And man, fellas, the worst part about Saturday was the weather.
Yeah,
that's about as good of weather Oklahoma football would have played in the entire year. So missing out on that, and then just missing the game of football and everything that goes into the spring weekend. This weekend was supposed to be Baker Mayfield's Heisman Trophy statue unveiling. It obviously was probably going to be Oklahoma's biggest recruiting weekend, where a guy maybe like Caleb Williams go ahead and pulls the trigger. So, it was such a big missed opportunity for us whenever you look at it from a, financial page view content perspective. So that hurt Saturday, but more than anything, I gave, from my big thing is I wanted to give you guys and give, my readers at least a little bit of dose of football to wade the times right now. And obviously I think I accomplished that with the way the, audience was reacting.
And Rob, you listened to the 2000 National Championship game, right?
I did. Yep.
So,
yeah, actually, I really enjoyed it because I love Bob Berry Sr., and so I listened to every play that I was in and out of the truck a little bit, but I listened to every play, and I forget how much I liked Bob Berry Sr., but it really made me appreciate Toby.
Yeah,
Toby Rowland is so good. Bob, God love him. It's a pass over the middle. No, wait, he kept it. I'm like, wait, which one was
a reverse?
So I don't know. You seem kind of young. I don't know if you remember Bob Berry Sr. or not, but it was always fun.
Yeah, but and we were talking about like you said with gauging what we the fans want. Rob and I touched on this on our last podcast. But I'm really not interested, which is weird. Normally this time of year, and I think Caleb's the same way, right? That it's because nothing's going on. It's like, does it, until we know what's going to go on, does recruiting really matter? You know what I mean? I mean, to me, it's like, well, normally right now I'd be sitting here watching the eyeballs and counting them and writing people's names down. And now it's like,
We're all on the same page here, right? I tweeted out on Saturday night that it is officially time to put the eyeballs on the hot seat. I am there. I am officially there. The eyeballs are on the hot seat, and they need to start producing. They got to start showing some production.
Well, I just don't, I can't imagine how the players, the recruits are doing. I mean, everybody is in limbo like they've never been before. Just how to make a decision to come to Oklahoma if you don't even know Oklahoma or anybody's going to be playing in September.
Right. I got to say this though, and I've been there. Like, I just don't even want to listen to anything. I don't want to watch anything. But everything that people are posting a lot of highlights and stuff right now, I'm watching every one of them. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, come on, man. I know what happens, but I'm still going to watch it. So.
Yeah. And so I'll watch the highlights, but I can't watch a full game. I just can't. It takes, if I don't remember a lot of it, it's different. Like Rob and I the other night, last week we were recording a podcast, and it was the Dodgers,
Oakland A's
World Series.
Years, yeah.
And I ended up, when Rob left, I sat here and kept watching the game.
I would have watched every bit of it. Sure would have.
But Caleb is a stats, not that he keeps stats. He's got one of those minds that just,
keep random things.
Yeah, keeps random things. And his poor mind is going bonkers right now.
Well, I was upset Saturday because it would have been awesome. The NBA playoffs would have started Saturday. It would have been the spring game, and I love the UFC, and Khabib and Tony would have fought, which was a fight I've been looking forward to for 3 years. And it hit me out one Saturday night when I realized that all that happened that one day, and how nice it was outside too. It was like a perfect day, and I kind of got a little depressed Saturday night. Not gonna lie, just think about all that stuff.
Yeah, I forgot. I mean, again, you don't even realize the NBA was supposed to start the playoffs, and the Khabib. There was so much that could have happened on Saturday that just.
Well, like the recruits, people coming in, like the recruits coming in, like see who has our singer for the. Yeah. I always want to see who that was.
Yeah. Who? Kegan, do you have an inside loop on who the singer was going to be this year? The entertainment?
No, I do not. I think it probably, from what I understand, it's going to continue to maintain being someone from that kind of genre, from that background. So yeah. I would have had to fend off more people like I had to do today on Twitter.com.
Yeah, which is one of the things I wanted to bring up. Why do you hate Jalen Hurts so much?
That's the line that everybody goes to when it comes to that. But no, more than anything, if that's the direction we want to go to right now, more than anything, it's one of those deals where I have stuck by my guns. I predicted Oklahoma to beat LSU because of Jalen Hurts and the Peach Bowl. If people, you go back and read, I thought what he did in the running game could have allowed Oklahoma to play ball control against LSU, which my whole idea that week was that Lincoln was going to do against LSU what teams have done against Lincoln to beat him in the last couple of years. When you look at Kansas State and you look at, what Army was able to do against them. So, that was the path I was going to take. But, more than anything, that still doesn't mean he's going to translate to the NFL and just be a star-studded quarterback. Before the year started, and I think if you put a truth serum in anybody, Oklahoma media member that covers the team, fan, player, whatever, if Spencer Rattler early enrolls, we're not even talking about Jalen Hurts right now.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And so when you start talking about that, and then you start looking at what Jalen on film this year, the things that Kyler and Baker did well that don't involve throwing the football, the mental aspect of it, the anticipation, everything that really kind of goes into what makes Lincoln Riley's offense really good, the timing, everything that goes into it. Jalen that wasn't his strong suit, or the things that needed to happen for the offense to reach its full potential. And if that's happening at the college level, then for me, what does that mean it's going to happen at the NFL level if he's going to be a quarterback at that level? So, that's really all it is. It's not that I dislike Jalen Hurts. I've gone on air in Oklahoma City on the franchise, and I've said as such that I think I'm probably one of the few Oklahoma media members that thinks he's going to have a successful NFL career. I think once he gets there, he's going to be selfless enough to understand that his role in the NFL is going to be a lot different than what he thinks it's going to be right now. And he's a team player. He's going to sacrifice. There was rumblings after this season, and I'm comfortable talking about it, that, maybe inside the walls that Jalen Hurts wasn't liked by the players and some of the coaches as much as what we thought. And obviously, I think you start looking at some of the body language, especially later in the season from the wide receivers. You kind of started to pick up on that. Jaden Hazelwood in the Peach Bowl is the ultimate. When Jalen held the football and Hazelwood just put his hands up in the air and was like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, but I think, with Jalen, he's going to represent Oklahoma well. I do think he's going to continue to represent Oklahoma. I think him and Lincoln Riley's relationship is very strong, despite if Lincoln, disliked some of the things he saw. So, I think the world of Jalen Hurts as a person. I think the world of Jalen Hurts as a football player. And an athlete. And from what I saw last year, I just don't foresee him hitting the ground running the NFL. Like what the last 2 weeks have seemed like every NFL mock draft analyst, NFL draft analyst, or NFL GM, besides one, and I wrote a column on such, has basically had glowing remarks about Jalen Hurts and his potential in the NFL. So we'll definitely have to see. These answers won't be found out anytime soon.
He's projected first round now, isn't he? Or very close to it?
Yeah, second round, late second round. I've even heard, the Patriots trading down from their pick into the early second round to go get him. So his stock is as high as it's been since early on in the 2019 season.
That's crazy. I mean, his comp, most people are comping him to, is Taysom Hill, who's a good player, but he's not like a Pro Bowl quarterback. Like, that's why I don't get it. I think he's a good player. It's just like, you want to make a first round pick on a guy that his comp is that's a backup. Like, that's what's crazy to me about it too. Like, I mean, I think he's good. It's just I just don't know if we want to do a first round pick on a guy or a second round pick.
No,
well, it depends on who you're asking too. Because if it's Pro Football Focus, I guess it's going to be Deshaun Watson. So if Oklahoma had Deshaun Watson a year ago, we may not even be talking about. You guys may still be talking about a national championship.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that. That's the thing is you start putting, like, even Dak Prescott in college. You put Dak Prescott in college with Lincoln Riley last year, and he has all sorts of success. He's probably a Heisman Trophy contender.
Yeah.
So, just like what Jalen Hurts was. So, it's here and there, that conversation, I'm sure, we're writing a little roundtable deal for tomorrow for the draft. And, one of the questions is what, and this is probably a question that I would love to ask you guys. Is what is Jalen Hurts' legacy like as an Oklahoma Sooner right now?
Ugh.
I'm not sure. I mean, I said, like, I think personally for me, I've been saying this. I think he was perfect for this year because I'm not sure if Rattler could handle, because the offensive line wasn't as good as it's been. I'm not sure if Rattler could handle the pressure and the beating he probably would have taken. I think it was perfect this year as a bridge for Rattler, but that's just how I felt about it. And I was happy going to the playoffs, but that was a goal I wanted all year long. I didn't want to get embarrassed like we did, but I thought Jalen was a perfect bridge to get Rattler going because I wasn't sure Rattler was ready because he's been hurt. He's come off an injury in high school, so and plus he came in late. Like, that's another issue too.
Well, and here's the thing: all year long, Oklahoma fans, as you know, we're spoiled. Period. About it, regardless of what position it is, whether it's but especially at quarterback. Especially the last, 2 years before Jalen got here. And even though his numbers were good, there were things that he didn't do as well as Baker and or Kyler. And us as fans, I mean, me and Rob, talked about it a lot, was just like, okay, how can you be mad? Because, he had 110 yards rushing, 300 yards passing, all these stats, but yet you're like, it just doesn't seem to be the right fit. You know what I mean? It just never seemed to be what it was supposed to be. So we complained about it. Some people, of course, I was never on this train, yank him and put Spencer in, after the K-State game. No.
Okay, wait a second. Halftime in Waco, that thought crossed your mind. It had to.
No, what crossed my mind at halftime at Waco was where was the stronger alcohol?
It was kind of
I
like,
was up in the press box and I was thinking the same thing.
It was kind of like watching somebody drive a Ferrari around in second gear. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The horses are there. We just, we never put the pedal to the metal. It just didn't seem like we did.
And Rob, works at the stadium during game days, and so except for this year, his son was a senior roughneck, and the last home game, it was senior night, and so Rob sat with us for the game.
It was heaven on earth.
It was heaven, but he saw a lot of the stuff that I talked about. Our seats are in the north end zone on row 1, okay, and I don't know how many times I saw CeeDee Lamb fixing to break open, and I think, Colby Daniels was on and he said, that it was like Baker and Kyler had the knowledge of, I'm going to throw it there because CD or Hollywood is eventually going to be there. Jalen just never had that with these receivers because, like you said, in the later games, people raising their hands up. Rob, there was one in that where CD was, by the time, and Jalen tucked it and ran, but CD, by the time the play ended and the guy was still on him, CD was 3 yards ahead of him. And
he could have closed his eyes and threw a touchdown.
And that, I think, is what the frustration was there just didn't seem to be the cohesiveness that we're used to with Kyler and Baker, and I don't.
Albeit he had all the stats.
All the stats, So how can we complain? But yet you sit there and go, oof. And then he made dumb mistakes down, against Iowa State, against TCU, that you wouldn't think somebody, a fifth-year senior, would make that play.
Well, Kyler did it too when he put the ball on the ground and rolled out. Yeah, I mean.
But I think biggest difference, he didn't trust his arm. Like, Kyler and Baker trust their arm. I don't think Jalen, I don't think he trusts his arm as much as those guys did. Because they would put the ball in tiny windows, and very rarely Jalen threw those balls.
But I think, to answer your question, we all gave our opinions. But I think Jalen Hurts' legacy is like what Caleb said. He was the bridge from maybe possibly great to greatness with Spencer Rattler. With this group, with the receivers and everything that we've got coming in here with that kid. And I mean, I think you're just going to, like Caleb said, he was the bridge that, bridge over troubled water there.
We're hoping.
I mean, it's kind of was like the year Baker had set out, and then maybe was just killing it in practice. Like maybe that happened this year with Spencer. Like, was he like just killing it in practice all the time, and everyone can just see that this kid's probably the best quarterback. He's just not really mentally ready yet. Like, do you know that from like practice reports or anything about Rattler at all, or?
Was that being talked about, that he was blowing it up at practice?
No, I will say, during fall camp, I heard, and obviously I heard throughout the year a lot more, but I think this was the biggest compliment in regards to Rattler that I was told, was that he, at that point in fall camp, he had only been on campus for a couple months, he was already at a better starting point than where Kyler was at when Kyler got on campus.
Jeez.
That's kind of scary.
If you're wondering why my hype train during the fall camp was as it was with Spencer, and whenever I put him ahead of Jalen in my quarterback rankings for guys on campus, I mean, as you guys thought, as I thought, as everybody thought, Spencer would have early enrolled. Jalen Hurts never would have been on campus, and that's kind of the same buzz that I heard, throughout fall camp, and it was clear that he was going to be the guy. Now, granted, the biggest concern and that I do have with Spencer, and I have been able to evaluate him in person, and I think I think I'm not going to say I was the first one, because I definitely wasn't. I started obviously picking up on Spencer in 2017 that year after the season after he committed. I thought he may end up being the top quarterback in that class. But I didn't really start making the statements about him in college until I saw him in person. But the potential problems that I do foresee with Spencer is that he does kind of have that Tua mentality of, man, I trust Lincoln. I trust the route. I trust the scheme. I trust the window I'm supposed to be throwing it to, and I'm just going to blindly throw it. And I think if that's your only concern about a guy, then he's doing pretty damn good for himself. Yeah. And then two, I think that this is a guy that whenever I interviewed him at the opening 2 summers ago, he was very humble, very approachable, loved getting to talk to the media. And usually that means that this is a really good person away from the field. And this means this is a really good person. This is a guy who could be a leader in the locker room down the line. Obviously, then the QB1 documentary comes out, and it kind of gives you some pause. It makes you go, man, you really don't want to push him into a situation that's kind of going to give him the reins of the program maybe too early. And he makes some of those mistakes that Baker made, and he makes some of the mistakes, you date back to, you look at Bomar and some of the other guys, the top quarterbacks that came to campus or top players and made some mistakes. So I think this year was a great year for Spencer. I think it was a great year for the Oklahoma football program, just from the aspect of, one, he is getting more and more he was getting more and more acclimated to the scheme and to the system every single day, and then two, he wasn't in the spotlight, and he's been in the spotlight since his freshman year of high school. So those two things I think are just going to benefit him so much heading into next season.
Now, you mentioned the Baylor game. Do you think Jalen's having deja vu with a hot freshman?
Oh, absolutely. He absolutely did.
That's
he
probably
wouldn't admit it to you.
That's probably why he played his best top football of his life, probably, because he probably knew that was on the verge of happening to him twice. Can you imagine that happening twice to you? A freshman,
oh my God!
No.
Yeah, that would have destroyed them.
Hey, if Spencer Rattler plays against LSU, OU doesn't get blown out by 50. So I mean that.
Yeah, I think that's true.
That does that too.
Yeah, but you brought up the QB1, the Netflix show. By the way, we were on, or voices were on it. But one of the most impressive things, and this is what our little snippet on there was about, was when he got suspended. Don't care what he got suspended for, but how in my opinion, how that he's good stock and from a good family stock. Whatever he did, the parents and him accepted the decision of the school. They knew he was wrong. You know how many kids, and you do this for how you just know kids even in middle school that get in trouble and they got to sit out a football game or a basketball game. The parents throw a fit. That these parents who they got the number one recruit in the country as a son gets in trouble, and they go, "Hey, he's got to learn from his decisions." They didn't complain about it. And to me, that says a lot about the family and about him, that, he didn't argue about it. He screwed up. On the documentary, they talked about, how they were they were lying, ESPN and all this stuff. No, they were, I guess they were lying, but it was really the decision hadn't been finalized, I guess but that to me was the most impressive part of that, was how that family reacted to that.
Yeah. And, I think I got to talk to Michael Rattler a little bit whenever I was down in Frisco for the opening a couple summers ago, and his family. Comes from a really good family, comes from a very driven family, and a very smart from a marketability standpoint. You kind of saw what Baker and Kyler did with themselves being able to market out to the social media and continue to drive traffic and numbers. So he's going to continue to be really good at that. I think Spencer, I truly believe that he is a really good kid. And I think that, whatever happened, whatever you want to allude to, whether it was an academic deal, which is probably the best guess at this point, of what happened. And, you learn from that. I made my mistakes. I mean, the first 2 months of college baseball, I got suspended for a weekend. So,
wait a second. What'd you do?
Oh boy.
Where'd you play college?
This is pretty good.
Where'd you play college baseball at first?
So I went to Redlands Community College. I had a chance to go to Kansas City Community College. That's where I was originally committed to, and I decided to stay closer to home. To probably not doing this podcast if I go to Kansas City, because I tore my labrum and my bicep tendon the second series of my freshman year. So that's a little part of me that I bring up a little bit every now and again about playing JUCO baseball, but I didn't have all the success. I don't mention it too much. But regardless, in short, I'll try to make it as quickly as possible. So we went down and played at Division III junior college my freshman year down in Dallas. And so it was a day trip. We left Saturday morning about 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Got down there, played the 2 games, beat both games. And coach obviously wasn't too happy, and we had to run and do all sorts of crazy JUCO junior college BS afterwards. So we could do that, and we're all pissed on the bus, and we're in our team group mess up on the bus home, and we go, hey, we should have a party tonight. And we're like, hell yeah, we should. Today's Saturday. So we get back to El Reno, Oklahoma. At Redlands, all the apartments that the players stay in are on campus. So we had a party, a small one of about 45, 50 people.
which is half the enrollees at Redlands, isn't it, about that?
Probably, yeah, probably. And then night got going, and about 3 a.m., cops knocked on the door. Everybody dispersed. All the players did, besides me and 2 other players. And we took the bullet for everybody, but didn't have to pay my ticket. great. The team paid my ticket, and I got suspended for a weekend series, fall weekend. So, and had to do like 10 hours of community service at the school. But we all make our mistakes, and I've made a hell of a lot more than that, and a hell of a lot worse than that. So, he'll be fine. And like I said, and like you mentioned, Caleb, I think that this last year was so important for Spencer, just from the psyche and the humbling experience it had to be.
Okay, but I want to finish up this. I have a point to make about your party. Okay, when the police arrived, they knew that there was or had been a party going on. Correct?
Yeah, we had some people peeing outside. That's how we got in trouble.
Okay, well,
every time. Every time.
But my question is, Dak Prescott, 2 weeks ago had a party, and the police said they couldn't tell if there was a party going on there or not.
Well, he lives a mansion. Okay, that's a big difference from that. And like
but
apartment.
Still, when a cop shows up, they know if a party has been going on, and that's what the police in Dallas said, was they couldn't tell if a party had been going on.
I think it's different for a pro athlete
than a Redlands junior college. That's just my point. I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan, so I got to get my gigs in on the Cowboys anytime I can. But Caleb Williams is now, looking at some of your articles, and there was one I want to talk about too. But he's starting to recruit now.
Yes, but who's he recruiting for?
Now?
He has been recruiting.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but who is he recruiting for? That's the question.
Like Chris Ball says, 90% Oklahoma now? Like even
according to him, he's recruiting for himself. Right? I think that's what he wrote. He wrote in his little SI story. Yeah, which was pretty clever.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess it's true, because I guess wherever he goes, he's recruiting to help his class get better. So it's a true statement too. So can't come.
Well, they all do it to a but I think isn't that how Weiss and Stogner and all these guys ended up here? They all started talking and going, "Hey, if we all go to the same school, look at what's going to happen."
Yeah,
and I think it happens a lot. You just don't see it. Like it happened at Oklahoma that spring game when.
Well, that's what he wants, though, right?
Yeah, that's what
he wants to have. That.
Yeah, he wants all these guys when he commits, that this whole slew of guys comes right behind him, right? And that's what he's working for.
Right. And with Caleb, and if you guys remember and if you follow me, right when Brock Vandegrift committed, I sent out a screenshot of just Caleb Williams' profile picture. I've heard for a long time that if it wasn't going to be Brock, it was going to be Caleb. If it wasn't going to be Caleb, it was going to be Brock. Lincoln was going to be able to get one of the two guys. So I've had a lot of confidence. This is a guy I am very intrigued to evaluate in person at the opening this summer. Oh, wait. It's not happening. So, no, I think this is a guy that obviously you're hearing the names, and if I think I've sent out enough cryptic tweets at this point that people can kind of get an idea of where I'm kind of at with this whole process with him and, the serious three. And I think everybody skip jump and kind of let the cat out of the bag with that whenever you can add Mario Williams into it. I think this is a guy that understands the connections that he's building. I think he understands that he's going to need all the talent around him possible to reach the goals he wants to reach at Oklahoma. Now, I think that this is a guy, though, that he, from a leadership perspective, he is a lot closer to Baker, the Pied Piper guy, the kind of guy, the vocal, I'm going to show you emotional in the field kind of guy. Now, obviously, he's from Washington. He didn't grow up an OU fan. But this is a guy that I think people from Oklahoma are going to get very acquainted with. I think they're going to get very close to. I think they may even get closer to him than they're going to get with Spencer. I'm sitting here talking about Caleb Williams like he's actually committed to Oklahoma.
You know something that we don't you?
So I should pause there because it's clearly that it's an open recruitment for Caleb Williams right now. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a guy that Oklahoma fans will really, really circle around. I think they'll be behind him. I think that's a big key to this, and I think that's the reason why you're seeing him want to have this outreach. I think it's why you're seeing him be able to have all the success, being able to bring guys with him, because that's just the kind of player he is. That's the person he is. He's not a guy that I've been able to speak with yet. I'm hoping to change that over the coming months. But I think this is a very interesting evaluation. This is a guy that hasn't showcased that arm talent, the anticipation, all the things I talked about with Jalen earlier. You don't see that in his tape. You don't see that in the tape like you do with Brock Vandagriff. I think Brock Vandagriff's the top quarterback in this class. But do I think Caleb Williams could be a more impactful player at the college level? I absolutely do. I think Caleb Williams is a Justin Fields in this class to what Trevor Lawrence was in that, I believe, 2016 recruiting class whenever those two came out together. So I think that this is a guy that's going to have all sorts of success. I think Lincoln Riley can do all sorts of different things with him. Now, I want to see him in his arm talent. I want to see him be able to make throws if he gets a senior year. I want to. Without that, I mean, this evaluation is very tough. I mean, I don't foresee him being an absolute perfect fit right now at Oklahoma, but that can change very easily based off what he could put up his senior year. But I want to reiterate again. I think this is an all-time get. It's a program-changing get for Oklahoma. It's going to continue to reset the base floor for what this offense is going to be. It's going to continue to raise the expectations. So I think that this, the build up to his public commitment is valid. I think he's earned it. I think he deserves it. And now I think it's hurting you guys. Actually, no, considering we don't have anything to write about right now, it would be in everybody's best benefit if he would go ahead and just make his commitment public.
Well, but then I disagree, because then what would you write about the day after? See, now at least you can keep every other day dropping these little notes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we don't, over at SoonersWire, we don't do a ton of breaking news. If you read the post every now and again, the depth chart, I kind of added some insight into some stuff I've heard. So, yeah, outside of that, no, this is one of those situations. I think this is the absolute worst game of cards I've ever played against somebody. I mean, I know exactly what their hand is. It's sort of taken that away from it, but that's recruiting.
When he announces, is it going to be like a floodgates open with other players too, you think? Or is it they're all waiting for him to do it? Or is it just...
And which way do you think he's leaning?
But it sounds like his profile picture is still a picture of Lincoln and his mom, right?
Yeah, when you put a coach and your mama on your profile picture, I'm sorry. I mean, that's a dead giveaway.
No, and then to what Caleb asked, though, I think that's what the effect will be. I think Caleb will be the first one. And then you look at the star-studded group that's going to be around them, a guy like Bryce Foster, a guy like Mario Williams, a guy like Christian Leary, a guy like Michael Sturdivant at the DFW area, a receiver that I think is as good as it gets in the country, and I don't think he's in the top 250, top 300 yet. I love the offer whenever they send it out. So you see all the Latrell McCutcheons of the world, all those guys. I think the domino effect starts with Caleb, and I think he's given some telltale signs of when that announcement's going to be coming here in the summer months. So, I think that the domino effect will take place after he goes ahead and goes public with his commitment.
Now, let's change sports just for a minute, because we're baseball fans here. Well, Rob and I and Caleb are baseball fans. Me and Rob aren't the big basketball fans, but both Diamond games. Basically, the Oklahoma baseball and softball, but I think especially baseball this year, it really got the screws put to them with this, because that team was looking really good early on and just getting better every game. And to have the rug pulled out from, they had the no-hitter. They've been knocking off top 10 teams. Looked like everything was going their way, and now I guess all the seniors are coming back, right? Isn't that my understanding of it?
Yeah, all 7 seniors will return.
So, which is weird, because you got now the freshmen and sophomores that were planning on playing next year are kind of, oof, But where do you think it was an anomaly, or do you think Oklahoma baseball would have kept going and building?
The biggest concern I had with the baseball team this year wasn't they just didn't have that firepower at the top, in the middle to the back end of that lineup. I thought that obviously the pitching staff was as good as it gets. I thought Levi and I thought Dane Acker, they got barreled up a little bit more than you would have liked to see, and Kay Cavalli kind of had an inning lapse every start his first 3-4 games. So, I think they would have continued to get better. They were so young, especially the backups. When you look at Kendall Pettis, the second baseman's name's going to escape me, but that's a guy that Oklahoma, or Logan Kohler is his name, the freshman second baseman. That's a guy that Oklahoma internally thinks is going to be a big-time ball player for them. And then you continue the LaValle kid, Carter LaValle from Carl Albert, another young guy that was back up at first base. So this is a program that's obviously heading in the right direction. I think as the year went on, we would have seen them continue to gain strength, to continue to get better. And I don't think it was an anomaly. I think this was a program its eyes were dead set with the pitching staff that they had on Omaha, or at least a super regional, and more than likely hosting a regional. I think this was probably the second best team in the Big 12, right behind Texas Tech. So this is a program, and then too, you mentioned the 17ers coming back. I wrote a little story on that. I think that 2021 was set to be that bridge year for Oklahoma baseball. They were going to lose a lot of guys. They're going to be extremely young. They were going to have a bunch of growing pains. And now you're looking at the future is now. And that Mike Boyne, I was actually covering the game whenever he first started saying stuff like that at Oklahoma State. And I really, truly believe that about Oklahoma baseball. I think that they're going to have as good of depth as anybody in the country, not named maybe Florida or Vanderbilt. And when you add that into the equation in college baseball, you're going to be a very tough out no matter what day it is, no matter what team you're playing, whoever. So, pardon me there, Corona.
Yeah.
I think this is a program and this was a team. The expectations were right where they should have been. And I think that they would have definitely met them come year's end.
Yeah, I mean, and we had a big weekend planned for the OU Texas. Oh, we were going to do a tailgate out on the berm and watch the series out there, and just got.
That's like everyone. I think got ruined.
Well, Coach Johnson really had them up and coming. Everybody's swinging at the ball. I mean, they weren't up there, getting struck out. They were putting the ball in play, and all the the good kids were really hitting the ball. So.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, fun to listen to.
Yeah.
And now we gotta wait again. But back onto football real quick. You just had an article come out about you talked about it earlier, the player jerseys height and weight changes. And you said that let's see here. That Creed Humphrey lost weight. I saw Creed the week before the week before everything closed down. Where did he lose weight at? Because he's still as big as a mountain. So, how much weight did he drop?
I believe it was 10 pounds, and I think that's something that's going to bode him extremely well. I thought he played a little heavy last year at times, especially he didn't have that, athleticism getting up to the second level that he had 2 years ago. And I don't know if he put on bad weight. I don't know if that was him being too stiff. All those things that you drew, as we're watching from afar, we won't know the answers to. But I think this is a guy, if that means that he cut up, if that means that he turned some of that, the lean muscle into that cut muscle, I think this is a guy that it's going to benefit him. So if he continues to get lighter on his feet, Creed Humphrey is going to end up being a first-round draft pick next year. He's on a long, I think a short list of guys that I mentioned in that story, where he really, he really is just going to benefit so much from it. And, I think that with Creed specifically, You look at the rest of the offensive line, they're putting on 12, 13 pounds. This was an offensive line that looked a little less athletic a year ago. And if Creed Humphrey is the one that's setting that standard, is what I was trying to say a second ago, maybe those guys follow that same path this summer instead of, adding on weight. Adrian Ely and Marquise Hayes and Tyrese Robinson don't need to be in those 320, 330s. They need to be a lot lighter than that. They need to be more athletic. This was an offensive line that, as Lincoln Riley said, and I agree with it, didn't live up to expectations a year ago. So I think Creed, is it him losing weight? It maybe sets the tone for everybody else, but I think it's something that's going to benefit him a lot.
And I think Creed is one of the best at, if you watch him, which he does get the upper hand a lot, but when he does, he's going to flat out destroy you if he can.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how many games you saw him, putting guys on their backs, going downfield, just annihilating a linebacker or a corner. He physically is just,
he's a beast.
Yeah, when he gets you, it's it. I mean, you're done.
Well, there's a lot of footage of the Texas game where they were destroying that chick from Texas, Brooklyn Hager. That
was everybody.
That was Cody Ford mostly.
Yeah,
Ford,
but I believe that they, in the huddle, or they had a call that just said which guy got to block Breckenhager that play, because that.
Oh, that tape is. I've actually. So this is a little insight into the NFL draft / analyst world. Is that there is basically a black market for all 22 tape. That if you know somebody that's involved in a YouTube page with the select coaches that get all the tape. So I've actually been able to acquire the tape from that game, and the end zone view of those plays, fellas, is unbelievable.
I
mean, just murdered him, and murdered him, and murdered him, and I honestly think if the offensive line in that game, Oklahoma's, if they didn't have it out on every play to take out Breckenhager, they probably have more success in the running game that day. Because if you guys remember, Oklahoma only ran it for like 3.9 yards a carry.
Yeah.
They were going out of their way to bury the guy.
Yeah, I'm serious. I mean, I'm only half joking. I'm only half joking that it was, there was, when the guys went up to the line, it was, blue. Blue meant that it was your turn to get the guy, and that was your job, because just the stuff that I saw that people put out, you could tell. Cody Ford went after him.
It was like, well, he was talking trash that whole week, right?
Yeah, well,
and trash all year.
Yeah,
all year he was.
It was kind of like the water boy when the guy talked about his mama and he handed him the football so he could tackle him. That's what it reminded me of.
Now I love my mama.
I mean, it can't ruin the guy's career, because after that, he smashed his hand in a glass thing, and never heard from it. Like, he disappeared pretty much. Like, he got destroyed that game.
Well, Matthew McConaughey cut his hair, so there's that.
I guess. I kind of want to do that. What's the thing that everyone's doing? Like the donation thing. And Matthew McConaughey's donation thing is to go to a Texas game with them. I want to do that. I'm more of my OU crap and go to a game with Matthew McConaughey. I think that'd be fun. Go to OU Texas with Matthew McConaughey and wear my OU stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to go anywhere with Matthew McConaughey.
Would you turn around and go, all right?
After we score, I would.
I mean, you guys have to remember, Breckenhager also had to go to the hospital after the OU Texas the second game because he cut himself with a effing Bowie knife.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
You guys don't know about this?
He chopped it or something,
Instagram,
right?
So on Instagram, a couple days after, it was surfacing on Texas boards that Breckenhager had hurt himself. And then a couple days after on Instagram, he had a Bowie knife in his on his belt loop, and he had a big old bandage on his right hand. And then it kept kind of word getting out more, and then he posted an Instagram story of him swinging his Bowie knife around with a bandage on his hand. So he cut himself accidentally, I think, after that game with a Bowie knife. I mean, this guy was insane.
Yeah, he's a crazy guy. I thought he was funny. I didn't think he was that good, so he made me laugh because he sounded like an idiot all the time. So I didn't hate him because he made me laugh. and he wasn't going to kill us.
Well, she shouldn't play with
Yeah,
knives.
I mean, he was. And you could have convinced me that he was also Tom Herman's son. So that goes back.
Nice.
But yeah, that guy, he deserved everything he got, and like Caleb said, he's gone. Where is he now?
Like,
I mean, he closed his
ODU.
Twitter account after that, didn't he? After the game.
Honestly, I wish people would stop posting those videos because I watch them every time, even if it's the same one.
Well, that one, and then the safety on Ellinger, which that's the guy. That's the one guy I can't stand. Is that it's him?
Yeah,
Ellinger.
Ellinger,
Whatever.
Hey, I liked him in Deliverance.
Have you noticed that, Kegan? We've put some posts out, and some people have you seen the movie Deliverance?
I have not. No.
Oh my Lord! I would.
I'm not a big movie guy.
Okay.
If we're being 100% honest.
Don't watch it. It'll scar you.
Yeah, it will scar you.
You're gonna need some therapy.
But
That's what's wrong with Terry.
Yeah, in the beginning, if you go and Google, banjo kid from Deliverance, okay, there's a kid that plays banjo, and it looks like it looks like
Sam.
A
Sam
younger
Ellinger.
version.
Yeah, it looks like it was him as a kid. And I was like, holy cow.
Well, he's inbred, so you might want to start with that.
Yeah, so but just Google it and look at it, and then you got to put a picture of Sam next in his helmet, especially, and you'll go, oh my gosh, that is him. So, but
we digress.
Yeah. Let's finish up here with a little bit of draft talk. We got, which is weird.
Thursday. It's crazy.
Yeah, the draft is Thursday. And, we keep talking about Jalen and CD and K9, Gallimore, Parnell Motley, but we got a bunch of people. I forgot about all these other ones that are in the draft. I pulled it up today to look at it. Do we think we know that the 5? Where's CD Lamb going to go? Is he going to get screwed and sent to the Raiders?
How's that getting screwed? That's awesome. Sorry.
I am starting to warm up to the idea of someone trading up like above the Raiders and taking Lamb, whether it's the Eagles, whether it's, golly, I'm trying to think. There was one other team I was looking at earlier. I'm pulling up right now that needs wide receivers, and they have like San Francisco. Obviously, they're really of the talk of San Francisco's Ruggs because of his speed. But they have, 13th pick, and they have the 31st pick of the draft. So now, do I think that the Raiders? I said it on the franchise last week that I actually like what the potential fit with John Gruden and Derek Carr with the Raiders. And then two, if it's not Derek Carr, that means the Raiders are going to be getting into Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes next year, and you match him up with CD Lamb. So at some point, CD Lamb is going to have a good quarterback around him, whether it's this year, whether it's in the coming years. But I really actually do like the fit in Las Vegas. But I think I'm coming around to the idea of someone's going to draft or trade up into the top 10, whether it's Cleveland's pick, Arizona's at 8 and 10. I think someone's going to trade up to go get CD Lamb. I truly think that in the eyes of a lot of what these NFL scouts are seeing, there's really, between him and Judy, Lamb is really the only one that you would count on to win a one-on-one matchup with and be able to deal with the physicality from day one. I think that's going to give him an edge on anybody in this draft at wide receiver. Now, I think everybody here probably loves them some Denzel Mims from Baylor. But I think CD, with the ability for him, his releases off the line of scrimmage, his physicality, and his ability to make very competitive catches, it's going to just give him all sorts of. I keep using the word benefit a lot. No, it's going to give him all sorts of avenues to have success in the NFL early on.
Well, and they're saying that Kyler was
he's still campaigning
campaigning to get them to trade up to get him,
He trade up.
Yeah, didn't he say something to Kyler on Instagram today or something? Or didn't Kyler say something to Marquise Brown today on Instagram?
I know him and Marquise have been playing Madden a lot. Going back, they've been talking crap. I mean, I think so. But I mean, I'm a big Kyler guy. I think they need to take offensive lineman though. They need to keep him upright. Like CD there would be awesome, but I think they need to get the guy from Louisville if he's still there. That big guy that ran a 540 when he was like 300 pounds.
The Becton,
yeah,
or whatever his name is,
yeah.
the offensive lineman. Yeah,
that's what they need right there. But I won't be too mad if CD goes. That connects with Kyler again, though.
Yeah, I don't think that Arizona, we're at a point right now where Arizona's going to take another wide receiver with the first pick. I could see them, like a guy I just mentioned, with
Mims.
Denzel Mims later on in the draft, especially if they trade down. And then there, I mean, if you've seen Daniel Jeremiah put it perfectly, he's got 10 guys in the top 100. So yeah. I mean, you're going to be able to get receivers in this draft from the first round to the third round that could end up being wide receiver ones for you. So this is and I think CD's the cream of the crop. I think obviously we all do. I like him more than I like Judy, and I like him more than I like Henry Ruggs. Now, if I got to watch Henry Ruggs run routes in Lincoln Riley's offense, would I probably take off that stance? Probably, because I like Marquise Brown more than I like CeeDee Lamb. Now, that's probably what the current day football is, where that Julio Jones, now DeAndre Hopkins having all sorts of success, but where the Julio Jones of the world aren't as valued as high as what these spot receivers are. So, I think CD, though, no matter where he goes, and I've said this a lot on the air lately, no matter where he goes, he's going to have success just because of kind of the player he is and the work ethic that he has.
Now, what scares me, though, is I guess there's rumors going out last 2 days that the Chiefs are trying to get Ruggs, which I don't think that's fair. How can you have Ruggs? They already got the guy that had last year, that Speedster had last year, and Tyreek Hill. Like, if the Chiefs get Ruggs, that's just what's the point of even playing football in the NFL? I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I already get just destroyed by the Chiefs on Madden already because people are just throwing bombs at Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
So that would not help.
So you had a 4-2 guy next to that. I mean, it's just.
They won't be able to afford them all.
They're already all paid. They're all paid. The only person that's not paid yet is Patrick Mahomes, but everyone else is on the contract. Mm-hmm. So I mean, and plus the rookie deal is still cheap. That's still cheap. So I mean, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to trade up and get him, which is just crazy.
But now, before I actually wanted to ask you this question before we got in the draft, so I want to kind of digress a little bit. Okay, there was a member of the local media who put out today that the word is that football is going to be moved to the spring, and the announcement is coming soon. Are you hearing that too? Is that something that we need to realistically go? September's gone, and no, it's September Rain is the Guns N' Roses song. Sorry, but
at the age that I'm at, the youth age that I'm at, it's hard for me, and it was really, I did a very good job over the last 24 hours of biting my tongue on it. But why is Mark Rogers trying to break that kind of news?
So he doesn't know what he's talking about then.
I mean, he might.
I'm not saying that Mark Rogers doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, he works with Dusty Dvorak, who obviously has all sorts of sources and access into Oklahoma's football program and programs across the country. But I'm not hearing that, and I made a firm stance on this at the very beginning that I would not entertain conversations of that until mid-May. Now, I just think it's way too early, guys. I truly do, and I'm not a guy that has a strong political stance on the left side, right side, middle, no matter what. So I just don't think we have enough data. I mean, we're at a point where we're making decisions. Data's going to change. We don't know what's going to happen in the next month or so, and it's just way too early. I'm still under the belief that we get the testing up, we do all the things we need to do as a country, and we probably can create some quarantine-like environment for these student athletes and for especially the football players. And maybe we can get a season this fall, and you guys probably won't be able to be in attendance, which sucks. But at the same time, too, these TV dollars are so much more important from game day revenue, and as crazy as that sounds, and as much as that sucks, that's the cold hard truth. And so we'll figure it out as everybody involved, and I think we'll they will figure it out in terms of Joe Castiglione, the NCAA, all the other athletic directors around the country. And they're going to make the best decision with the most informed decision. I truly believe that. I don't think they're going to make a decision that they don't have complete data on and whatnot. So, now, have I heard talk of spring football? Absolutely. I think everybody that's in the media that has a source or has talked to somebody inside a football program, I mean, you have heard that. You have heard that being a contingency plan. It's nothing, more than just, hey, yeah, absolutely that could happen, but that's not something we're looking into as it stands today. And so that's really where that stands from. And as I said, I really don't understand why Mark Ruggers thought he was going to be the one that was going to break that news yesterday.
Well, I think maybe he got the blue check mark, man. He has to get his first big news out there, the blue check mark.
Oh, did he just get a blue check mark?
He has a blue check mark now. So, I mean, he's not always have one. So, I mean, that could be a guess. But, I mean, also, it's April 21st. Like, what's
what else are you going to talk about? And here's my thing. I've said this all along. Yeah, the health and safety of everybody involved is key, but money is what is driving all of this. Okay, and and universities across the country are talking about how much money they're losing right now. And universities smaller than Oklahoma, Alabama, and Texas, they can't go a year or 6 months without that revenue kick. There's been a lot of them say that, it's like, if we're not playing, we don't know what we're going to do. So money drives. If they can make it happen in September, it's going to happen. You know what I mean?
I agree 1,000%.
It has to happen, because look at what's going on in the country. Just, we're going political a little bit, but we did a little bit earlier, me and Rob did, but look at what's happening with the country right now. People are losing their jobs. In your industry, a group that just because there's no money to advertise. So people aren't getting paid and can't get paid. And you throw that into, I was listening to something on Sirius, and they brought up the fact that if football isn't played in September, do the coaches have to go on sabbatical? Because who's going to pay those $1 million salaries? Think about it. All of a sudden you're going to have Lincoln Riley and this whole staff go, well, we can't get paid, and we're going to have to not get paid until we play football.
Terry,
again.
get your checkbook out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know who's really, really happy right now is Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah. Oh, the man who, he's already got his what they give him a national championship,
future national championship trophy.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah,
like
with an unended date.
Yeah. It just has 20. It just has 20 on it now.
But no, but as much as we don't like it, it's business. It's a huge business, a massive business. Billions of dollars happen between September 1st and January 3rd. If they can make it happen, they're going to make it happen. If that means playing in empty stadiums, that's what's going to happen. We talked with JY from the Trench Warfare. The only thing about that is, how are these kids going to react to it? Because it's, part of the college game is the crowd and the atmosphere, that all getting pumped up in the performance. But these are elite athletes. They're they do what they do. But it's, if they can make it happen, September 3rd, we will be playing who?
The fighting, what's his name? The motorcycle guy, Bobby Petrino.
Yeah, Bobby Petrino.
Coming to town. Missouri
Yeah.
State.
Yeah, so if it can happen, it's going to happen. One way or another, it's going to happen. But if they say if the health and safety say it gets pushed, we can't do it until February of 2021, it's going to kill.
Somebody's going to get strong-armed. I'm just telling you. They're going to meet in the parking lot by somebody that's tough, tough looking, and they're going to go, listen, we need you to go in there and say it's okay.
Yeah. There's going to be a Guido standing
and it might
outside.
be me.
Yeah. it's got to happen. And you know,
Yeah.
and people say, yeah, well, moving it to spring. No. You don't. These colleges have already been talking. They can't lose that revenue in August. They can't do it. September and August. They've.
But they're told they can't do it though. They can't do it. So that's the thing though. It's out of their control. It's out of everyone's control.
But
still too early.
Yeah, there's 3 hiccups with this though. You know, you look at it from the NCAA perspective. These are student athletes. You know, they can't force these kids to come back to campus if there's only online class.
Right.
So that's where the ball's kind of in their court if they go ahead with the name, image, and likeness. And these guys could get, you know, those pensions and all that. They're able to make revenue off of their name. You know, that relieves some of that. These guys will probably be more willing and more reluctant to coming to campus and come back and play season. 2, the liability of it from the university side. You know, kid gets sick while he, you know, granted, and everybody that's my age and whatnot has seemed to be able to get over this pretty quickly. But there's people that aren't, and the liability of a potential player getting it, there's no telling what kind of lawsuit what could come from that, especially if these guys are forced to be in this environment. And then 3, you know, I think just the overall, just the nostalgic part of college football. I think people are and ADs and all these people that are decision makers are going to have a hard time really, you know, think about if you're Joe Castiglione and you're about to have to sign up to have to play an empty game in Gaylord, Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. And these Texas and Alabama and all these places that are about to have to play, their empty stadiums, they're going to lose a little bit of luster to it whenever these games are on TV. And you know, think OU Texas. What are you going to do with OU Texas?
I just thought when you said that, it just it just clicked. It's like, what the hell? What are we going to do with it? Are they going to play it at the Cotton Bowl in an empty fairground?
I mean, I think college football is going to be the weirdest sport without fans. I don't think it's even close because they have the bands. I mean, I think they're more in tune with the.
They're going to have to superimpose fans.
Well, I mean, what they'll probably do is they'll probably like what Korea what they're doing in Taiwan. They have fake people there and they're pumping in noise. So that's probably what they'll do if they have to pump in noise and play the fight song like they would if something big happened. But it's gonna be weird if it comes to that though.
Jeez.
But I would take it. Give it to me. I would.
Well, see, but
I
brought this up the other day though. Why would they play it in the stadium? Why wouldn't they play it in? Because it would look weird. Lot? No, in the practice facility over there. It's a 100-yard field. Maybe the kickoffs might be an issue. I don't know, or the punts.
Yeah, kicking and punting would definitely be an issue.
But I mean, why would you go out into that state? You know, not
that's
just
what we want to see.
Well, I mean, I'd
rather not see. I'd rather see him play on a high school field with no fans, and then see him in an empty stadium. Empty stadium would look too weird.
Yeah, I mean, why all these teams now have these billion-dollar indoor practice facilities? Why wouldn't they just, show up like a scrimmage? You're on that side, you're on this side, and
I mean,
let's play the game.
That's what the pro teams are going to like. The NBA, if they come back, they're probably going to play on like practice courts, because that's all it's going to be there. There's no fans. And baseball, same thing. They're going to be playing in like in spring fields.
Well, that's not what those kids came here to do. So I think they play it just like it was a real game.
Well, they also came to play. If their choices are play on this high school field, they don't play at all. I'm pretty sure they'll play on the high school field.
Well,
this is horrible. This is horrible. I hate
play
this.
It on the high school field. They could play it in the stadium. I'm just saying.
Oh, would you guys get to cover the games? Do you think, Kegan?
Yeah, I think that but I think it is what the Sooners Scoop Pod has alluded to the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I think it would have to be a quarantine environment, though. I think I'd have to give up, 3-4 months of my life to be somewhere and basically not see anybody for 3 to 4 months.
And then you get the whole section 1 to yourself, and somebody else gets the whole section 2 to yourself.
I actually like the idea of the suites better. I think if SoonersWire was able to get their own suite for a game and cover from a suite, that'd be pretty cool.
They might just make you all stay in the suite. Like, you have to stay there for a week. Just stay there until...
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, I mean, well, Kegan, we've been going for quite a while now. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, share with our listeners?
I mean, I think the most important thing, and I think everybody, understands this from a journalism perspective. Right now, I mean, we are in as trying times in the journalism industry as what a lot of industries are doing. So continue to support, more even local. This isn't about me. This some know-it-all nobody that works for SoonersWire.com essentially. This isn't about me. This is about the Barry Trammels of the world, the Oklahomans, the Ryan Avers and the Garen Emigs and the Eric Baileys and all those people. Go support those people. Go subscribe to those newspapers. Their coverage is as good as it gets, and there's a free alternative. But if you have the ability to do it, these people need it. These people need it more than anything right now. And I can speak for someone that works under the Gannett umbrella like the Oklahoman. We need it as bad as anybody. This is a company that things aren't going too well behind the scenes. So continue to support local journalism as much as you can. Now, obviously, we have some fun over at Sooners Wire doing a little bit alternative journalism is what I like to call it. It's not it's not what everybody expects. You kind of we write columns, we write gamers, we aggregate stuff. We all do really fun things, and I think the biggest thing for me, is, especially doing this, is the continued outreach and let people know that we appreciate it. We appreciate the reading, the conversations that we're able to have. We appreciate everything that comes with this job. We don't do this job for the money. As everybody knows, the journalism industry, the money doesn't necessarily flow unless you are decide to yell and scream and you end up on ESPN or Colin Cowherd and you work for Fox Sports. So
and you don't know anything. No.
And you literally don't know anything. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the biggest message. And as anybody, I'm as open as it gets. I can have a conversation about OU football with anybody. This is what I do on a daily basis. Feel free. My DMs are open. Now, if you start asking me questions about what I know and what I don't know, obviously things are going to get probably not going to respond to any of those. But no, it's the entertainment factor. I'm in the same boat as everybody here, trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do and tweet about. Besides tweeting at our governor about the weather and at our president about tweeting about
and about us not being able to play golf.
Exactly. So, I'm having as much fun, fellas, as I've had. Doing this, it's been stressful, but it's been fun, and we're going to continue to push out content, especially with draft being this week. We have a couple. I've got a story I wasn't able to write from Pro Day about Lee Morris that's going to go up, and his eventual fit in the NFL. It's very interesting. His position that was played at Oklahoma doesn't necessarily translate to the next level, but Lincoln and everybody else swears by the fact that they're going to that he's going to be able to adjust to that and be able to have success at the NFL level. So, that's something if you want to look forward to. It's going to come out Saturday morning before he signs his undrafted deal Saturday after the draft. But more like I said before, continue to support local journalism. I think that's the biggest message. That my brothers in this industry and my sisters in this industry need it. And then too, if you want to support Kegan Reneau and at Kegan Reneau and SoonersWire at SoonersWire too, that'd be pretty great. But ultimately, we're going to be here. We're going to keep pushing out content. I'm going to continue to start diving into my some of the older games. I don't plan on breaking down the older games like I'm going to be able to do with the Lincoln Riley ones. But more so than anything, it's still going to provide somebody for my perspective of things, what I see from the teams back in the day and whatnot. So that'll be going on, draft stuff, obviously all that. So, but no, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully, during the season, I definitely. I'm open to anything, so y'all can hit me up whenever, and whenever that happens, whether it's in the spring, next year, whatever.
Well,
you guys talk to me, hit me up whenever.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time out, and again, your content on Twitter is great. Listening to you when you come on to the local sports shows. I love what you do. And, you know, we appreciate you taking the time out. We always have one request from the media guys, okay? And that is, if you ever need, you know, somebody to carry a clipboard or a you know, satchel, whatever it is.
Nothing heavy.
Nothing heavy.
Come on.
You know.
You don't want to break a sweat.
Or if you need somebody just to stand, I mean, we're all pretty big guys. If you want us to, you know, if you want to look like you have an entourage, you know, some guards. If you ever need anything, help at a game, especially OU Texas or anywhere else, but, you know, just saying, give us a call. We're more than happy to, you know, carry a pen, whatever you need us to do. Just let us.
Absolutely.
Just let us know.
Yeah, you guys will be my first call. Yeah, no doubt. Next time I go on if OU makes another playoff again and I go on a big trip, I may need someone just to be a supervisor and make sure I don't do anything stupid.
Well, no, wait a minute.
So,
no, okay, now we're not good at that. Okay.
So you guys are going to be with me doing this stuff.
Yeah, we will be stupid with you now if you know. So if you need that,
Terry will take the fall for you. Though.
Yeah,
so that's always. Yeah, we can always just blame it on Terry.
But again, Kegan, we appreciate it. That's the podcast, guys. We'll see you next time.
Great stuff.
Yeah. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Caleb.
Boomer.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Guys, take care.
Sooner fans, you really need to go check out our podcast partners. First off, teambarfinder.com. Download their app on the Apple Store or on Google Play. Find out where you can watch your Sooners locally at your local pub. Also, go check out tailgateconnect.com for the best tailgates across the country. And go learn football from Jason Young, JY, and the Trench Warfare Report, www.trenchwarfarereport.com. Let's get this going.